Can talk about your natal Uranus. Um, Uranus kind of represents communications, things electrical, um, things that are very spontaneous. It's a mover, it's a shaker. It The mythology behind it is it's quite interesting. Um, it's it, wh- when it conjuncts to certain things, just like any other planet, it holds a certain energy, but the conjunctions in the certain parts of the chart mean different things, and I think um, I think you have certain people um, that have Uranus conjunct to their natal sun would probably be Billy Bush, um, who's I think a Libra, and he had gotten into trouble with Trump. Um, Lucky Luciano, who's a mobster, um, Italian guy. He apparently, when he got arrested, he helped. Uh, he helped the U.S. with connections in Little Italy, in Italy, to free the ports. So he was extradited um, far, back to Italy. But apparently, what I'm trying to say to you is um, his actions were so spontaneous and just so fast. His life was like fast moving. So, um, I guess if you're in the underworld, you have to be in some sense as well. Um, if I'm correct, his natal sun is conjunct to Uranus. Um, uh, Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. Uh, I don't know. I feel strange about Uranus a lot. It's to me, it it has an energy of a Aries. It doesn't have an energy of Aquarius at all. Aquarius is communication, yet so is Uranus. But Uranus has that that electrical feel, which to me is very much so of Aries. So anyway, um, Lucky Luciano was, like I said, you gotta observe the person's life, their their life patterns, what they did in life, whether you love them or hate them. In order to see them in the chart, you gotta you gotta put away your prejudice. So Lucky Luciano did a lot of dirty things, probably murdered a lot of people, but he was successful in his business of incorporating the mafia, and he got all the families together. So he was very successful in that direction. So he apparently is a Sagittarius. Um, he was a Sagittarius, and he had Uranus conjunct to his natal sun, but he his um, natal sun was Sagittarius in the Sagittarius house of the ninth, um, the ninth house. But yet, if you look at his chart, he's a little bit lenient towards the 10th. And 10th is success and stuff like that. And to be quite honest with you, I don't think Lucky Luciano taught us anything, but I don't know. I never met the guy. He's a little bit before my time. But anyway, um, here's his natal chart um, by Astro Theme. You see his natal sun is 2 degrees Sagittarius, and it's right on his MC, which is MC is 4. But the MC degree, and nobody knows the really right degree of, even if you have a right time frame of birth, nobody really knows, you know, exactly what the ACMC is between the time of birth. But let's just say uh, his sun is right above on his MC, and so is Uranus at 29 degrees, and his natal Saturn over here is at 3. His moon, so he has like a stellium. It's called a stellium. It's like all the planets, like 3 or 4 planets, if they're together in one range of 10 degrees, that's a stellium. So in the native um, life, that stellium works as like a Zalian phone. So certain times of the year, depending on when the person's born, and usually there's Scorpios have stelliums for whatever reason. I don't know why, but Scorpios have stelliums. It's somewhat rare that Sagittarius do, but let's just go with this. He has a stellium. Stellium is like a azalea phone because, like, when the planets go into his house in the fall, the Venus, Mercury, and the Sun, they bounce off of his natal planets, and he has like a lot of action towards his birthday. So his arising his AC is Aquarius is communication. So his arising is ruled by Uranus. So he had this life that was very spontaneous, I guess, as to be such a mobster. You would have to be really quick with everything. That's how I look at it. But I'm thinking like his Saturn and his Moon are conjunct. So probably worked very hard on what he did. But the Saturn and Moon conjunct, I would imagine that he was pretty stubborn. Um, his Mercury's high. Uh, Probably died poor, but yet he was probably rich because his Mercury's high, and he was just well known for um, what he did. He had that type of fame. Not glorifying the guy. Um, I'm just saying, like, the rhythm of life and how it is, and how you could see it through somebody's chart. Um, yeah. So that's Lucky Luciano. Um, anyway, let's take a look at another one. And let's see what we could cough up here. Should have put this in the descriptions, but that's okay. I guess there's so much to be said recently about this guy. I don't think it really probably would have mattered anyway. But Will Smith, um, Will Smith, uh, Uranus is conjunct to his natal sun on the bottom. Um, he's a fifth house Libra. Fifth house Libra. Fifth house is owned by Leo. Pleasurable things in life that he's enjoying to do. He's also in the maturity zone, which he probably have. He'll probably have a long life. Um, the house that he's in the fifth house, he has two placements: Mercury, natal Venus, and that's an indication of those two planets. If he had other planets, it doesn't necessarily mean Mercury or Venus, but if he had other planets in that fifth house, they would have represented his two kids. Um, if your natal sun is in a house with, it doesn't matter what planets, in a house with those planets, like I mean, any planet, could be any planet, as a placement in that house where your natal sun is, that represents children. Okay, I'm sorry about that, but I didn't share it. So there you go. So let me just chop back. There's his natal sun at 3 degrees Libra in the fifth house. Uranus is 29 degrees. His sun is 3 degrees. They're together. So if roughly conjunction should be 2 degrees, like it could be 2 degrees after or 2 degrees before. So his Uranus is 29 degrees. There's a 0 degrees, but yet his natal sun is 3 degrees. Now, approximately, um, if you looked at the three, there's a 0 and 2, a small 0 and 2. It goes by, calculation. Um, that 3 degrees is young. So he's squeaky clean as the conjunction is. It's not so strong, but it's still there. And his placements, like I said, he's got two placements in his fifth house, which he's got Mercury and Venus over here. You see, his Mercury is 28, his Venus is 29. um, um, we'll get into this later. So I'm going to just break this down a little bit for you. So Capricorn. Uh, oh, let me break this down for you. You just give me 1 second. Um, Capricorn and Cancer. Capricorn and Cancer are sister signs. Capricorn's up here, Cancer's down here. 4th house, 10th house of Capricorn. And then watch this. Aries is first house, and Libra is the sister sign of Aries, is on the 7th. All 4 signs make this cardinal cross. So the Capricorn, the Cancer, the Aries, the Libra, 4 signs. Those 4 signs have similarities. Those similarities are they called all 4 signs are called cardinal signs. They are icebreakers. They maneuver things. They make things happen. They just get in there and just do stuff that, whatever. They do things that have to get done. So cardinal signs get things done. Doesn't necessarily mean the rest of the signs don't. It's just that if the rest of the signs land, like if you're I don't know, if you're a Pisces and you land on the 10th house and you're somebody like, what's that singer's name? Arowana. What is she saying? My Under My Umbrella, right? I think she's a Pisces in the 10th house of a Capricorn. If you land on a cardinal sign, you could be one of those icebreakers, those people that maneuver things, that I just do things right quickly. All right. So getting back to Will Smith, and why am I mentioning this? Will Smith is a Libra, which is a cardinal sign. He's in the fire sign of Leo, but it's also the kingdom of pleasurable things. It's also, the house of family, of children, similar to Cancer. I think he recently brought up the fact about not standing up on David Letterman podcast, that he couldn't. He wanted to stand up and protect his mother from an abusive father. Okay. And then you look at his career of being, he's a good-looking guy. His Venus and his Mercury are conjunct as well. If you Okay, so I'm gonna make a podcast about this next later. Some astrologers, what they do is they go by degrees, and certain degrees mean certain things in certain signs. And I've seen this, and I believe it. I've seen plenty of it. Will Smith has a few of them. 29th degree is analytic degree for cardinal signs, but their analytic degree is an important degree for cardinal signs, but a lot of astrologers believe it's for all signs. If if you carry an analytic degree, it could be for any signs, which in theory it could be true. It depends upon the person, depends upon the native of the chart. So analytic degree will be 29. So he has, and if you're a cardinal sign, especially, he has his Uranus at 29, his Mercury is close to 29. His Venus is 29. He has a Gemini ascendant when he was born. Gemini was the rising sign. Very important degrees. They indicate some type of importance, some type of, in some situations, some signs like Capricorn, like I said, analytic Capricorn or Cancer or Libra. 29 is very important. It's just a very important degree. Now, what's that importance? It depends. It depends on where that degree is, what planet it is. You could you. I'm just saying this very general because you could buy books and there's tons and tons of books about it. Um, so I saw Chris Rock's natal chart and Will Smith's natal chart, and they both have this aspect of having this planet um, pattern. They both have this planet pattern, which is called a yod. It's the finger of faith, the finger of God. Um, it indicates some type of meaning for the individual who carries this. Um, when I do, when I read charts, and I still do read charts, I've seen thousands. I've seen thousands, maybe ten thousands. I'm not quite sure. Finding a yard, one yard is tough. It's really tough to find. Um, Finding two yards is even tougher. It's tough to find. I go by them. A lot of astrologers don't. I seen them because I think I'm a little bit more sensitive towards. I don't know. I could weed out it's like somebody's pattern in their life where the yod does play these aspects of importance. And what I come down to is believing that these yods are somewhat they have some type of importance, especially the planets that are involved. And sort of what yachts do is when they have like transits that conjunct to these natal planets, the person's life pattern activity forms differently. So both Chris Rock and Will Smith have yads. I think Chris Rock has two. So I think his yard, Will Smith, is 20. His natal Jupiter down here 20 degrees, and his natal moon is 21. Styles to each other, trends his natal Saturn is 20 degrees in Aries in the 10th house, which is he's always indicated that he's a hard worker, and he's got Saturn in the 11th house. Um, to me, that could have been the 12th too. Saturn could be in his 12th, which would go in a different bracket, but it's just a blending. There's no cut dry kind of thing with the houses. That's what I believe. I think there's some type of they call it cusp, but I don't believe in cusps. I think it's just the energy of the planets and where they're at. So anyway, so his natal Uranus is 29 and is conjunct to his natal sun that's 3 degrees in the fifth house. And obviously the yod was the indication, could be the indication of the slap. And Chris Rock has one too. So let's just leave it at that and go on to other things. um don't know. Um, so natal Uranus, Uranus in itself as a transit or natal Uranus, they they carry the same. Um, they bring things in suddenly. Uh, had a friend who was dating someone, and she's a Taurus, and now Uranus is in Taurus. And as soon as Uranus hit her natal sun, something happened to her dating partner. It was just recently, and it was a shocking thing. It was like something out of the blue. It was like big. It was like, how could, what happened to this person? And that was pretty much, that would be the feel of Uranus. That was transiting Uranus. But transiting and natal Uranus basically are kind of the same. They're the same. They bring the same energy, but yet, like every other planet, there's different interpretations of the points that the planets land on in the chart. So, for instance, if natal Uranus lands on your AC, I mean, you're transiting you're transiting Uranus or your natal Uranus. It's the same type of energy. You're born with it, and it's on your AC. Your 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 mind is very spontaneous. You bring in a lot of fast moving energy. You might get upset or you might be happy. And if it's transiting Uranus, it's just temporarily. But if it's natal Uranus, it's probably permanent in your rest of your life. You're probably having, whatever type of emotions that run you, because you got to remember the, the AC is between the first and 12th house of self. And the 12th house leans more towards the mind. And it's also Pisces. Okay. So, that being said, um, um, if transiting Uranus is on your MC, that brings in fame. But the fame that it brings in represents the coattail of somebody else. So I remember um, I did somebody's chart. Um, I did somebody's chart in Europe, and this individual lived in a small town, and there was like something going on in a small town, and this person was sticking up, was representing another person who was, I don't know, it's like there was something wrong with them, and they were being represented wrong. So the person that I was doing the natal chart for um, was known for representing the person that did quote unquote something wrong. And it's a small town, but the case was famous in that small town. So the fame, there is some type of fame, but the fame being measured, it depends. But it's there. It happens. It's like, it's like it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be on national news. It was just a small town. So Uranus on your DC could be have some type of action as well. If there's other, sometimes if you look at your natal chart and you're transiting Uranus on your DC, and there's other formations that occur that could be relevant to that time. I've seen like a lot of Neptune being on a DC, and certain planet formations be skeptical, like your natal. You're transiting Neptune on your DC, and maybe Saturn being on your MC at the same time. So I've seen plenty of that. Yeah. Transiting Uranus on your Mercury could hit the lottery, or you could be extremely vocal but that doesn't necessarily mean it's negative, or it could be some type of fame. Transiting Uranus on your Venus, natal Venus could be something like a transformation of self or of money too. But getting back to natal Uranus, depending upon your natal Uranus, if your natal Uranus was high in your chart, like Lucky Luciano, and you're this kind of guy, who runs the gamut of the underworld, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Uranus is high on your chart. You got to be spontaneous. You got to run this gamut of of cat and mouse and looking over your shoulder. Yeah, you're gonna have to do that. That's that, but that shows in the guy's chart of who he is. Mind you, Lucky Luciano, his natal sun and most of his planets were in the houses of maturity. And he died of an old age. I think for Billy Bush, that guy Billy Bush, his natal Uranus, I don't think he expected that thing to happen with Trump. If we go back and see his natal chart, let's take a look. But that thing probably threw him through a loop. I don't think he expected that to happen. Yeah, can't find it. Can't find his. It's a reporter on TV in the States. But he got in trouble with Trump. If you Google it, you can find the whole story. Let's see. Astro Charts maybe has his Billy Bush, born in Manhattan. Another Libra. Communications. It doesn't say the houses, but you go down. Here's Billy Bush. Oh, I didn't know he was a record producer. He's a Libra. His moon is in Leo. Very interesting chart. It's got a couple of yachts going on. Anyway, excuse me. Neil, Sun, and Libra. Let me see. There we go. That's his chart. So he's a Libra. His Mercury is in there. It's got some interesting patterns. Grand Trine, North Node, Saturn to Mercury. His Sun is 29 degrees in Libra, and his Uranus is Natal Uranus is, his Sun is 19 degrees in Libra. His Uranus is 14. It's not really a conjunction, but it's kind of close, but not really close. But they don't have his time, so they don't know which house he's in. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's interesting. Natal Uranus. It says a lot. Natal Uranus in your first house is you evolve quickly. First house is self. Second house is money. Natal Uranus. If you find Natal Uranus in the second house, that's kind of skippy. Means money throughout your life comes in spurts. It's not there's not a real constant flow of money. It comes in spurts. A lot of people, I think Ed Mcmahon had natal Uranus in his second, and if you remember, he lost a lot of money right before he died. Just give me a second, and I'll try to find his natal chart. Ed Mcmahon. It was Johnny Carson's The Tonight Show co-host of The Tonight Show. Astro Theme has it. Let's take a look. For Ed McMahon's natal chart. From what I heard, I think he's got natal Uranus in the second house of money. And look what happened to him. Here it is. March 6th, Pisces from Detroit. And it says, see if we got the right guy. Let's just make sure. Ed McMahon. Yep, he was a Marine and he was TV personality. This is him. Brilliant chart. Look at this chart. Pisces in the ninth house. He brought into this persona. If you watch the Tonight Show, he was an interesting guy. He apparently oh wow, look at that. It's not in the second house. It's conjunct to his sun. I knew it had to do with something. Yeah. Yeah, and if I'm correct, other people's money, it's very close to his eighth. It's right here. His eighth. His natal sun's 15. His Uranus is 13. That's a conjunction. I thought his Uranus was in his second, but I was wrong. He's got his Mercury in Aquarius in the seventh. That's interesting. Aquarius is communication, so is Mercury. But he's got a good spread for all his planets. I'm not sure what happened to him, but I know when when he passed away, he had financial problems. Let me see. Let's just take a look. Let me just take a look. I remember the end of his life. He invested in a lot of, I think it was in bad investments or something. But he died in June of 2009. Man, yeah, he played in Star Search. He was in Star Search. I mean, what the heck? It says Wikipedia says right here. I mean, he was a really interesting guy, Ed Mcmahon. In June 2008, it was announced that Ed McMahon was $644,000 behind his payments of I don't know, 4.5 million in mortgage loans. He was fighting to avoid foreclosure on his multi-million-dollar house. McMahon was sued by Citibank for $180,000, and he appeared on Larry King with his wife to talk about the situation. Jeez, I remember that. And Donald Trump came in and tried to help the guy out. I don't know. Oh, anyway, he he apparently was a nice guy. He talked a lot about his service on the Johnny Carson show. And Uranus, his natal Uranus being in the 8th, he fell and had an injury on his neck, and he passed away. Yeah, that would be more of an indication of the natal Uranus in the 8th. Natal Uranus in the 8th is like a sudden death or sudden accident. It's a sudden event that's not good. But the 8th is other people's money, kind of similar to what he was doing. I mean, he was getting sued by Citibank with other people's money, and he was getting foreclosed for whatever reason, whatever the reason may be. It's unfortunate, but anyway. So Uranus being high on somebody's chart is very eventful life. Neo Uranus and people in the people houses of 6th and 7th, Neo Uranus would bring in people and bring out people quickly. So maybe like if you have natal Uranus in your 6th or 7th house, you would either be in relationships or friendships that come in and go quick, and you have no explanation of why. Natal Uranus in the 10th house, the same thing would be as for career. You would jump from career to career, that sort of thing. 10th and 11th probably is like that. And 12th is your mind. If you have Uranus in the 12th, yeah, you've got a fast going mind. Yeah, I hope that explains natal Uranus. I hope that explains a lot to you guys out there. I'll be back.